you did go through a period of not having a guitar for a while, and then, what, about a year ago, or maybe a little bit longer than that, you began the process, you might call it a journey, of of finding the right guitar for you now. So, which is what you have right next to you.
Yes.
And which is, it's a beautiful guitar, beautiful piece, and maybe you can just tell us a little bit about it, including the very distinctive dove that is on it.
Yes, I've labeled this a dove for somewhat obvious reasons, as it has a dove on the headstock, right? So, just briefly in the background. So when I was 18, I found this beautiful Gibson ES 335 at a guitar store in St. Louis. It was all white with gold hardware. It was beautiful. And it was probably $1,500 back then. And went to my dad and he had to get a co-signer, and he wouldn't co-sign.
Oh.
He says, tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. Why don't you go and finish your college degree, and then you can buy that guitar for yourself as a reward. So 10 years later, when I was 28, I finally got that big guitar of my dreams, which was a Gibson ES 346, the custom shop. Once I got into the music business, it's a challenging business, and at some point, I guess about 10 years ago, I ended up selling my guitars one by one to pay the rent. So I went for a long time without a guitar, but the guitar part of me has always been present. So a few years ago, I started thinking about what I really wanted out of a new guitar. And what I had before was really fantastic, but it wasn't exactly the tone that I wanted. Because having gone through that process and becoming a professional musician, I discovered that there were all these different, there's so many options when you talk about guitars and other instruments. And I went through 2 years of just researching tone woods and body shapes and all the different elements that go into it. And a year ago, I finally pulled the trigger. In fact, that's about a year ago this coming week, I flew to El Cajon, California, and I toured the Taylor Guitar Factory, and I got to choose this wood in their laser room. You don't go into the laser room unless you're commissioning a custom guitar. And this is Indian rosewood from India, and they did a fantastic job of pairing it on the back and the sides. This is basically the amplifier of the guitar. And then the soundboard here, the top, is Lutz spruce. Now, the most common combination on an acoustic guitar is Indian rosewood. Used to be Brazilian before they deforested Brazil. It's now Indian rosewood and Sitka spruce, which has a little thinner tone than what I prefer. This has a slightly fuller tone. And the guitar has Adirondack spruce performance bracing. It has, the neck is mahogany from Central America. The binding, it looks like trim around the guitar. It's actually binding, which protects the joints of the instrument. So if you butt up against it, it prevents it from breaking. This is all cocobolo from Central America. And, of course, we have the dove here. So the fretboard and everything is all ebony from West Africa. But you see here around the rosette, the center around the sound hole, is abalone, which is seashell from the United States side of the Pacific Ocean. And then the dove, the Taylor logo is mother of pearl. The dove is made out of paua, which comes from the Asian side of the Pacific Ocean. It's a 12 series, which is the lighter wood, and it fits my body very well. It fits like a glove. And the guitar speaks for me musically in the sense that this is my instrument, it's my tool, but it's also a piece of art. And what I see personally through the expression, everything that I have composed and will compose on this, is something that's coming through the instrument. But the instrument aesthetically represents this idea that the abalone, the seashell, we come up and we're born into the world. We are biological. We have the whole story of our lives to write ourselves. And as musicians and other artists, we often end up telling the stories of other people, give people words that they might not think of themselves. But this whole thing is our story, and this is my story to write here. And when we die, we're going to pass on to the unknown, and the Holy Spirit will be there in that dove to lead us on.